The Quiet Death of Being an Option. It's a heavy title, right? But today, we're diving straight into that painful, almost invisible psychological shift of realizing you're just a backup plan to someone else. Have you ever been in a room full of people, holding the hand of the person you love, and suddenly felt completely alone? It's not because you had a massive fight. It's not because they said something mean. Honestly, it's something much worse. It's that sudden, cold realization that while they are your entire world, you're simply a convenience to them. You're an option, a backup plan, just someone to pass the time with until, well, something better comes along. Today, we're going to break down the anatomy of this exact painful psychological shift. We're looking at the precise moment a man realizes he's just an option and why, when this realization finally hits, he doesn't scream, he doesn't argue, he just quietly walks away forever. So let's look at Mark's story. But I want you to pay close attention here, because the psychological traps we're about to uncover, they might actually be happening in your own relationship right now. See, in the beginning, Mark genuinely thought he'd found his forever. He was deeply in love with Sarah. For him, choosing her was literally the easiest decision he'd ever made. If she called, he answered. If she needed something, boom, he was there. He rescheduled his meetings, missed hanging out with his own friends, and pretty much adjusted his entire life just to make her happy. And to Mark, this wasn't emotional weakness, this was love, this was true commitment. But notice how the dynamic shifted over time. Slowly, almost invisibly, Sarah started treating his availability not as a gift, but as a guarantee. Think about that for a second. When you make someone your absolute priority, you naturally expect mutual respect, right? But human psychology has this really dark side. We rarely value what we think we can never lose. Over time, Mark started noticing these patterns. He was always the one texting first, always the one planning the dates. If Sarah's friends were busy, then she'd call Mark. If her weekend plans fell through, she'd ask Mark to hang out. But if her friends were actually available, Mark was just pushed right to the background. He essentially became her Sunday afternoon filler, but never, ever her Saturday night choice. And whenever he tried to gently bring it up, Sarah would just laugh it off. She'd say, "You're being insecure, Mark. You know I love you." And because he loved her, well, he believed her. He falsely disguised her lack of effort as her just being really busy. So he stayed, and he kept trying. But here's the thing, the human mind can only rationalize neglect for so long before reality completely forces its way in. And for Mark, that reality arrived on a very cold Friday evening. It was his birthday. Now, it wasn't a major milestone or anything, but he'd planned a quiet, intimate dinner for just the two of them at this restaurant they both loved. He'd literally made the reservations 2 weeks in advance. He bought a new shirt. He arrived 20 minutes early, sitting right there at the table, checking his watch, feeling super excited. Then, the reservation time passed. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. 30 minutes. He texted her, "Hey, everything okay?" Nothing. No reply. Finally, a whole 45 minutes late, his phone buzzed. It was a text from Sarah. And it didn't say, "I'm so sorry I got into an accident," or "I'm stuck in awful traffic." Instead, the text read, "Hey, totally forgot. Jessica got last-minute concert tickets for tonight, and she really wanted me to go. You don't mind if we do dinner tomorrow instead, right? Love you." Just let that heavy realization sink in for a moment. She didn't forget the date. She forgot him. She saw a better option, a more exciting offer, and she just took it without a second thought. Because in her mind, Mark would always be there. Mark was safe. Mark was the backup plan. And in that exact moment, sitting all alone at a table set for two, something inside Mark quietly broke. The illusion just vanished. All those excuses he had made for her for months, they completely collapsed. He looked at the empty chair across from him and finally saw the absolute truth. He was never her partner. He was her safety net. Now, pay attention, because this is where the psychology gets absolutely critical. A lot of people assume that when a man realizes he's being treated as an option, he's going to blow up. He'll start a massive fight, yell, or demand explanations, right? But Mark didn't do any of that. He didn't text back angrily. He didn't call her 20 times. He simply typed, "Enjoy the concert." And then he paid for his water, stood up, and left. See, when someone truly realizes they are just an option, the anger dies. Because anger requires hope. You only get angry when you actually believe that throwing a tantrum will make the other person realize their mistake and change. But when you finally accept that they simply do not care about you the way you care about them, that anger is replaced by a profound, incredibly heavy calm. In the weeks that followed, Sarah didn't even notice the change at first. Mark still answered her texts, but he stopped initiating them. He still hung out with her when she asked, but he completely stopped planning the dates. He stopped asking her about her day. He stopped kissing her forehead. He was physically there, but emotionally, he had already packed his bags. He had entered what psychologists call emotional detachment. Basically, he was training himself to stop loving her. He was finally matching her energy. And as he stopped pouring his soul into a sinking ship, a really strange thing happened. Mark started feeling peaceful. He stopped hoping for her attention. And because he stopped hoping, he stopped being disappointed. But eventually, that shift became way too loud to ignore. Sarah finally noticed the silence. She noticed that he wasn't chasing her anymore. He wasn't jealous when she went out. He didn't double text when she ignored him. Suddenly, the guarantee was gone. And true to human nature, the very moment Sarah felt him slipping away, she panicked. She started texting him constantly. She planned a surprise dinner. She bought him gifts. She frantically tried to bring back the old Mark, the version of him that used to beg for her time. Until one night, she confronted him, tears in her eyes. She said, "Why are you being so cold? Why are you pushing me away? I'm doing everything to fix this." Mark just looked at her. He didn't look angry. He didn't look sad. He just looked incredibly tired. And he delivered a line that completely shattered her. He said, "I'm not pushing you away, Sarah. I'm just finally accepting where I stand in your life. I didn't leave you. I just stopped begging you to choose me." And wow, that is the tragic irony of it all, isn't it? Sarah thought she had all the leverage. She thought she could just keep him on the hook while she explored the rest of the world. But what she actually did was successfully teach a man who genuinely loved her exactly how to live completely fine without her. As we close today's story, I want to leave you with a brutal psychological truth that you absolutely must understand about relationships. Nobody chases forever. No matter how deep a person's love is, no matter how much patience they have, the human ego and spirit simply cannot survive in a state of permanent second best. If you treat someone like a choice, do not be surprised when they eventually make the choice to leave. Because the true danger in a relationship, it isn't a loud argument. It's the quiet silence of a partner who has finally realized their worth, stopped hoping, and chosen peace over your emotional crumbs. So I leave you with a question to honestly evaluate your own life. Are you nurturing a genuine connection, or are you keeping someone around just because you're afraid of being alone? Take a second and really think about that. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us bring you more of these deep psychological breakdowns. And please, don't forget to leave your thoughts and personal experiences in the comments below. We love reading them. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, stay grounded.